All right, ladies. So today we're going to be talking about how to develop a presence of mind. Developing a presence of mind is extremely important because if you don't develop a presence of mind, right, when you're talking to the guy and you're trying to act as though you're not interested, you're going to he's gonna call you bluff. For example, if you're texting the guy, you know he's interested and you want to amp up the attraction, you're gonna say to yourself, you know what? Let me not text him for a couple of days so I can see how he reacts. When you don't text him for a couple of days and you don't hear from him again, you're gonna feel needy. And what's gonna happen? You're gonna fuck up your strategy and you're gonna text him. So you had a sound strategy, but because you didn't have the presence of mind, which is to say, you didn't learn how to relax in the midst of chaos, relax in the midst of uncertainty, you lost your composure. And as a result, the strategy that you thought you were using backfires on you. And this is the real issue why a lot of people, a lot of women, especially people in general, cannot follow through. It's because they lack presence of mind. When things get tough, they panic, they choke, they pull a LeBron. You know? So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys from one of my favorite books, The 33 Strategies of War, on chapter 3, on how to develop presence of mind. All right, and if you develop a presence of mind, this is not only going to transcend dating, it's going to go past all your life, and it's going to help you out in your whole life. And mind you, this is what athletes use when they're in a high pressure situation. For example, when LeBron James is going for the free throws, he'll brick it because he's not clutch. But when someone like Larry Bird, Michael Jordan goes for the free throw line, they'll make their shots because they learn how to relax in the midst of chaos. All right. So we're gonna talk about this, and the first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna read to you the introduction, like a couple seconds of the introduction. It says, "In the heat of battle, the mind tends to lose its balance. Too many things confront you at the same time. Unexpected setbacks, doubts, breakups," I'm just putting that in there, "and criticism from your own allies. There is a danger in responding emotionally with fear, depression, or frustration. It is vital to keep your presence of mind and maintaining your mental power, whatever the circumstance. You must actively resist the emotional pull of the present moment, staying decisive, confident, and aggressive no matter what hits you. Make the mind tougher by exposing it to adversity. Learn to detach yourself from the chaos of the battlefield. Let others lose their heads. Your presence of mind will steer you clear of their influence and keep you on the course." Presence of mind is so fucking important that I dedicated one video to it. So let's get started. So initially, we're gonna talk about 5 keys in developing a presence of mind, but we're gonna have first an introduction. And I'm going to be cross-referencing my experience in learning seduction and learning how to seduce women and helping to link back to your situations so you guys can learn how to use it during your situations. So strong-minded people are not born, they're made mentally. You make yourself strong-minded by exposing yourself to circumstance. Now, the issue is that a lot of people don't understand that they are not strong-minded. Their ego makes them think that they're better than they really are. We have this enhanced image that we have of ourselves that we want to believe. So the problem is that a lot of people think they're strong, but they're weak. Now, why do people think they're weak? Why do people think they're strong? A lot of people think they're strong-minded because they're always calm. Now, of course, you can be calm when nothing's wrong. See, the problem is that rather than realizing how weak that you really are, when the problem comes, you run away. You run away from your problems. Now, you think that you're doing that as a strategy, but in reality, you're doing that because you're weak. You're gonna notice that most minds are weak. Most minds, but it's hidden from the boring, normal moments of life. You see, people don't see how weak they are because they don't face the challenges. Our weakness is felt through the avoidance of problems when they arise. But that's when we actually need our presence of mind. Most people expose how weak they are when problems arise, when random problems arise. Not the ones you expected, but the unexpected ones, because that's what really shows you what's going on inside of you. Having a strong mind is not about just being born with it. It's about you fucking training that. Having an active interest in developing presence of mind. You see? But the problem is that most women are weak mentally. Not because of their gender, but because of their culture and passed down belief system. For example, I'm Dominican and I relate to black people too. I'm Dominican, but I'm not fucking black. This shit did not come from Europe. All right, come on, like it didn't come from Europe. We just landed in a different island. That's the only difference. So the issue is that, for example, I have a strong problem with Hispanics and black people because they keep saying that they're down because of the system. The system is fucking racist. That mentality only fits you when back in the 60s, back in the fucking days when you had slave masters and all that shit. A GPS that's made for the year 1990 will not work in 2017. It's not going to work for that year. In other words, just because that mentality fit the times, it doesn't fit the now. You see, we have so much ability to do so many great things, but because we keep thinking an outdated belief system based on the past oppression, we bring it to the present moment and we limit ourselves. So women, as a result, they've been oppressed as a gender throughout most of the human civilization, all that shit. So as a result, we live in this free world in America, for the most part. And the problem is that because of that belief system, they keep trying to fit it into this world. But in reality, it doesn't fit here. So what am I saying is that the belief system that they have is disempowering. It causes you to look at the problem, the outside, and not look at yourself. So you lose power because you keep blaming other people. Again, that's the same thing what I'm talking about. Is that your weak-mindedness is shown through relegating the personal responsibility for your problem to somebody else. Victim blaming. That's weak mind. So, in this video, it's all about learning how to become calm in the midst of chaos. If you are not, if you keep getting angry, if you keep emotionally reacting to things, like you just get mad quickly, can't control your emotions. You see, you let your nervousness get the best of you. It means you have a weak mind. You don't have a good presence of mind. You're not able to be relaxed in the midst of chaos. You're pulling a LeBron. All right. So the key number one to having a strong mind is become addicted to challenges. Love challenges. Revel in challenges. Because if you don't love challenges, it just means you're afraid of fear. Fear is the most destructive emotion. The most destructive emotion that corrupts the mind and the mind of the people. The emotion that is used to manipulate a nation to fight against each other. All right. Fear. In order to overcome your fear, the last thing you can do is running away from it, because running away creates fear. You see? So how do you face your fears? You first got to see the reality of your fears. The problem is that we have an irrational perspective of fear, because fear enhances the enemy and makes you weaker. So how do you overcome fear? You first have to see fear for what it is. So these are 6 questions you can ask yourself to overcome fear. 1, define your fear. What are you afraid of? 2, what are the steps you could take to repair the damage or get things back up on the upswing, even if temporary? 3, what are the outcomes and benefits, both temporarily and permanent, of overcoming fear? 4, what are you putting off out of fear? 5, what is causing you to postpone action? And 6, what are you waiting for? When you answer those questions based on your fears, you're going to realize that your fear is not rational. It's irrational. You see? And once you see fear for what it is, there's no more fear. You see, fear doesn't want you to see it for what it is. Fear wants you to see it as a monster, as a Goliath. All right? But the truth is that fear only has power over you when you run away from it. You know, fear is like a negative bank account that you have to address, but you don't, because you don't want to face the reality that you're broke. You see, you got to face your fear. Get in the habit of facing emotionally challenging situations so that your mind can get used to it. Like stretching, like when you stretch. In the beginning, when you stretch, it's hard, right? But then as you stretch more and more and more, suddenly it's easier to stretch. You see, that's what fear is. You just got to expose yourself to the pain, similar to exposing yourself to the pain of stretching. All right? And so the best thing about it is that once you overcome your fear, that's when the mentality and your mental awareness enhances. The feeling of overcoming a challenge is what makes you strong. The more you overcome, the more battle tested you become, and the more relaxed you'll be. For example, like when I'm talking to women and interacting with women, a lot of people are amazed the way I'm interacting. A lot of people are amazed about, like, for example, people who get coaching with me, they always tell me that they're pretty amazed. I'm not fucking bloating, I'm just saying the facts. They're amazed by how quick-witted I am. Like, I say funny things randomly, like pretty fast. Like, I'm very quick with it. It's because I expose myself to situations that most people don't do. I expose myself approaching groups of women with men and being able to take the girl, the hottest girl in the group, and take her with me while all of her friends are watching. Like, and that takes a lot of presence of mind. That takes you first seeing through the obstacle, which is being afraid of the group, approaching. Once you approach and take the girl, that's when you're like, holy shit, like, in reality, it's not as hard as it looks. It's just my mind was making it as a big fear. So now next time I try, it's going to be easier. See what I'm saying? And so you have to test your limits. If you don't do that, you're gonna be weak-minded. You're not gonna be able to face and achieve the things you want to achieve. I mean, that's how it is, all right? Number 2, be self-reliant. Key number 2, depend on other people to get things done. Learn to have confidence in yourself by overestimating yourself more than usual. If you're not self-reliant and you're always depending on somebody else, you need to overcompensate and be more self-reliant. Like, for example, if you're someone that relies on others all the time, then go the other route and go the extreme route and be self-reliant. So that you could find a balance. You go the extreme, then you go back. Extreme, go back. Extreme, until you find that nice middle. By the way, clean nails, right, motherfucker? Clean nails. All right. Because if you don't do that, then what's gonna happen is that when you are afraid of something, you're going to see the problem bigger, and you're not going to rely on yourself, because, once again, fear makes the enemy stronger, and fear makes you weaker. And you cannot be self-reliant if you're afraid. And so that's why you have to learn how to relax and believing and having an irrational confidence in yourself. Irrational. For the purpose of training yourself. You see? That's how it is. Like, for example, like when I'm talking to girls and I'm approaching a woman, I am self-reliant, which is to say, I rely on myself to be better. I don't game her, I game myself. I don't say things that are funny to make her laugh. I say things that are funny to make me laugh. And so nothing that she could do could affect me, because I'm gaming myself. And the outcome is not based on the number that I get, but based on how good I feel. That's what I'm talking about, self-reliant. Number 3. When dealing with fools, treat them as children. Fools will drag you down. And if you have a weak mind, you're going to allow their emotional instability to make you unstable. So the problem is that the reason why we take fools seriously is because we are it's because we're not seeing the reality of things. So this is a solution for this. Because if you take fools seriously, then you're going to always be dragged down to silly little arguments and mundane things. So emotionally crazy people are fools. So don't treat them seriously. See them as a child with compassion. Seriously, like, see them as a child. See them as a kid. Like, literally look at them and make the conscious effort of seeing a child. And then suddenly anything they say, you're not going to take it seriously. I mean, think about it. The only difference between a child and an adult is not the inherent person, but our perception of them. Similar to a baby, if we love our kid, it doesn't matter how much he grows up. If we see them as a child, we'll treat them as a child. So by simply changing your perception and seeing an ignorant person as an ignorant baby, you're gonna take you less seriously, and you're gonna learn how to deal with them and treat them how they're supposed to be treated. You see, like when someone's a fool, emotionally unstable, don't fucking see them as an adult. See them as a child, and suddenly you're gonna see how their behavior changes. And it's all about being able to not be affected by other people's stupidity, essentially. You see? Key number 4, unintimidate yourself. Focus on the now when things get tough. Fear, anxiety, and all of those emotions come from future projections. Think about it. The only reason why you are afraid of something is because you're making a mental projection. For example, let's say that you're in the woods, right? And suddenly you hear you go to get a, I don't know, like let's say you're fucking trying to pick this up and it's in the woods, right? And you go like that and you hear it, tss, you go, oh shit, what the fuck is that? Is that a snake, right? You get to react, oh shit, is that a snake? Then you look, oh shit, it wasn't a snake, and you pick it up and you relax. What happened here? Why did you emotionally react? Did you emotionally react because of the facts or because of your imagination? Your imagination, boo-boo. Boo-boo, it was your imagination, okay? So what am I saying here? You gotta, because what's causing you the fear is the mental projections. Think about that. You are not afraid of what's going on now. You're only afraid of the mental projections. You see? So what's going on? So what you have to do then is bring your attention from the mental projections to the now. The issue is that people try to not think of their fears. And what tends to happen? When you're trying not to think of something, you're going to think of it. Try not to think of an elephant. You thought of an elephant. So what's the best way to do this? If you don't want to try and think of something, you got to focus your attention on something else, and don't try to think of something, just think of something else. That's what I'm saying, right? So this is how it's done. Rather than not trying to focus on the future, bring your full attention to the present moment. What I like to do is simple. I just focus on my breath. Just focus on your breath. Or focus on your senses. Just focus on your senses. Or focus on your hand and notice how your hand feels. And bring all of your attention to your hand. And so what's going to happen? A focused mind is a clear mind. A focused mind is a relaxed mind. A focused mind that's on the present moment is more relaxed. So yeah, you're gonna notice the future projections, but you're rooted in the present moment. So you gotta have a presence of mind. You see? You can have a presence of mind. You know? And because if you want to think clearly when situations get tough, you cannot have fear, because fear makes you hesitate. In order to think clearly, you got to learn how to be present. You see? Because when you have fear, through mental projections, it clouds your thinking. It makes you emotional. It makes you fuck it up. Alright? So number 5, the last one is develop an instinct to make quick decisions. Develop an understanding of your terrain. For example, the reason why I know all of this stuff and I'm able to articulate it in different ways is because I studied that shit a shit ton of time. Like this book, you guys may think I read it. You guys may think I'm reading it, but I already read this book like a whole bunch of times. Like 6, 7, 8 times already through the audiobooks. And then once I listen to the audiobook, I like to read the books. Like this is like the condensed version. And once I'm done with this, I'll read the bigger version. And that's how I master material. So in order to make quick decisions, you got to know the terrain. You know, you got to know the material. For example, when I'm teaching guys how to talk to women, right? I tell them, look, in the beginning, you're going to hesitate. In the beginning, you're not going to know what to say. In the beginning, you're going to be afraid of making moves. But after a while, after you learn to get comfortable how women interact, how women are, what clicks in women and what women don't like, suddenly you're not going to develop a intellectual understanding of how things happen. You see? Once you have that intellectual understanding, then after a while, when you learn to be relaxed in the midst of chaos, which is to say, when you learn to be relaxed on a date, you're gonna know exactly what to say and exactly what to do without thinking. It's gonna be more automatic. You're gonna learn to make decisions quicker and more efficiently. But the key is to put yourself in a situation that you don't know, expose yourself to failure, see what works, see what doesn't work, right? Notice how you react and stay calm. After a while, you're gonna notice you're more calmer, and smoother. You see? And so the whole point in this is that you gotta learn to develop quick decisions. Because if you don't make quick decisions, you're gonna easily lose in anything. If you make slow decisions, that means you're uncertain. It means your enemy can get ahead of you and destroy you. And it means you're gonna lose. You wanna make quick decisions and back off slowly, rather than making slow decisions and backing off fast. Get in the habit of doing that. You see? Get in the habit of failure. Get in the habit of taking risk. Because if you're not afraid of taking risk, that means you're not gonna. If you're afraid of taking risk, that means you're gonna make slow decisions. And having a strong presence of mind is being able to be okay with the consequences, because you know, even though if you fail, the failure in and of itself, the negative pain that comes with failure, is also another way to practice presence of mind. So the key is to cultivate it during waking situations, so when the problems arise, you're prepared. See, most people want to train only when the problems come. Most people want to fix their finances once their finances are fucked up. The best ones in the world are the ones that see their problems ahead before they come. And so you know that tough situations are going to arise in your life. And so the best thing to do right now is learn to develop a presence of mind. Learn to focus your attention on the present moment. Make that your primary mode of being. And anything that arises is done on the present moment of awareness. For example, I'm feeling my hand right now, right? Like literally my main focus is in my hand throughout the whole video. You might think my attention is in my thoughts, but my main attention is in my hand, right? So now what I'm gonna do then is when I talk to you and you, let's say you're talking to me, right? And I hear your voice. The first thing I focus on is not on your voice. The first thing I focus on is on my hand. I'm noticing my hand, and then I listen to you. The issue is that when you get nervous, you become frazzled. You become jaded. You just lose focus. Suddenly you're not aware of your hand. You're just aware of the problem. Like, oh shit, the problem is so big, right? You don't know that if you just maintain your attention on the hand, suddenly you're gonna notice your mind wanting to focus on the problem, but you're gonna focus on the hand. And the problem is gonna arise, and suddenly, because you're not frazzled by focusing on the problem and focusing on the hand, you're gonna be able to see the problem and have a logical and pragmatic solution. It's not emotional. It's calm and relaxed. Yet you're gonna feel nervous, because even though if you're focusing on your hand, you're gonna feel nervous, but you're relaxed. It's very similar to being late to work. You're late to work and you're rushing, but then you know you're late to work, but it's similar to late to work. You're late to work and you're running and your mind is at work, right? Your mind is at work. But then there's another difference between being late to work and being in the moment, which is this. Being late to work and knowing that you're late, and there's nothing you could do, as opposed to being late to work and knowing that you're late, but you're trying to do something about it, but it's not working. Like the frustration of being late is losing presence of mind. The mere fact of understanding that you're late, but being calm because you know there's nothing else you could do, is presence of mind. It's not allowing the situation to control your emotions. It's being able to see things as they are, plan accordingly in a pragmatic and logical way, and taking action based on that. That's what presence of mind is. It's not about losing your control every time a problem arises. It's about remaining present and realizing that the most important thing in life is being here right now. See, the problem is that we place so much value on our situations. We don't realize that the most important thing in life is not the things, but but the things that contains all the things. The essence of things, the consciousness, the awareness. That's the essence of life. It's not the content that arises in your consciousness, but the consciousness itself. When you learn to focus on that, problems will arise. Shit will happen. But it's not going to phase you. You're going to be deep rooted within yourself. It's a powerful thing to do. It's a powerful way of being. Most people don't experience that because they don't know how to be comfortable in the midst of chaos. When you learn to actually become comfortable when problems arise, you can achieve anything you want. Like, there's been so many days I remember, man, like when I would drive and I would say to myself, is this really gonna work? Like, am I really wasting my time? Should I just go get a job? And if I lost presence of mind, I would have panicked. And I would have like, you know what, fuck that shit. I'm just gonna find a job and deal with the 9 to 5. But I believed in myself. I believed and I understood what was going on. I understood how resistance works. And I battled through it. I had a lot of fears, man. But I put myself in a situation where I had to win regardless. I had to win. If I didn't win, I was gonna face an outcome that was gonna be fucking horrific, which is working 9 to 5. I fucking hate that. I can't do that, you know. So developing a presence of mind is important, man. If you learn to manage and handle your emotions, you already defeated the enemy. Anyways, Alex from mindfulattraction.org. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, go to Mindful Attraction Coach in a Pocket. I have one more spot left on the plan that I have. It's a plan where I'll coach you for one day, right? Like I'll have an initial session, but then for 4 weeks you could contact me on an unlimited amount of time to give me updates on your problem, and I'll send you a response through WhatsApp. Sorry, do you know the app WhatsApp? How you're able to respond through audio? The reason why I like that is because when I'm able to respond to you, you'll be able to see the you'll be able to hear my response and replay it all over again. And like you could ask me, oh, by the way, you could be like, oh, he texted me this, and I'll respond to you, oh, we're going out tomorrow, what should I do? And I'll send you instructions. Like it's kind of like on demand. Of course, I'm not gonna fucking respond to you after 5 minutes. Like I may take 6-7 hours to respond, because like I'll get a lot of them. But generally speaking, you'll get a response, and it's fun, and I like it like that. Anyways, Alex, goodbye.